Good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Just want to give you some tips and tricks while you're working on your quizzes today. So, the quizzes is focusing on finding the slope and the y-intercept from tables, graphs, and equations of linear functions. So, my first scenario today is about equations. So, the scenario is this. It says the Rimrock Trail in Balcones Canyon Lands National Wildlife Refuge in central Texas begins at an elevation of 1,100 feet at the base along the creek bed and ascends, which means it goes up to an elevation of 1,300 feet at the top of the canyon. So the Hernandez family wants to use this equation to describe their elevation in feet above the sea level. All right, so this means that when they're climbing, they want to stop and say, what is their elevation? So this is the equation they are using to calculate that. All right, so I want to know what are some of the numbers representing and how can I use this equation? If you remember, equations are we use slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So we use y equals mx plus b, where b is the y-intercept, or where we begin when we're graphing it. M is the slope. We also call that the movement. We also call it the rate of change. Meaning, how is my equation changing? How is my elevation changing in terms of this problem? All right, so we begin at 1,100. That's where they begin. That will be the y-intercept because when they start to ascend or climb the canyon, sorry, I should think about the word. When they're starting to climb the canyon, when they arrive at the base of the canyon, they're already at 1,100 feet in elevation. And it says, now this number right here, which is your slope rate of movement, is 8. That means they're moving or they're climbing at a rate of 8 feet per, it doesn't have any time, so I'm thinking it's probably feet per hour. Okay. So that's the rate that they're climbing, 8 feet per hour. So how long would it take them to climb to the top of the canyon is what it's asking. All right, so they start at 1,100. They have to get to 1,300 would be the climbing. Maybe they want to know if they've been climbing for 1 hour. They could plug that number in for X to figure out their elevation. All right, so now the next piece. So the equations are the easy ones. So let's go to tables. This one says Haley's savings account. And you notice that the week is the X value. That's your input. You need to know how many weeks she's been saving to how much money is in her account. So some really key pieces that we need from here. Again, we're looking for y-intercept or that beginning value. Or we're looking for the rate of change or the slope. So we always want to look for our token golden point, and that is if X is identified, we know if X is 0, then the Y value that matches is the y-intercept or where they begin. So this one says on week 0 at the starting, Haley has $775 in her savings account. To find the y-intercept, you have to know when X is 0, because if you graph on an X and Y axis, you're not moving left or right, we're going up on the Y axis. Our slope or our rate of change, we're going to have to calculate from the table. So we're going to look as X's are increasing by 1, what is happening to the Y values? And it looks like the Y values are actually going down by 15. So we have to find those rate of change. So what's happening? Remember, it is the change in how the Y's are changing compared to how the X's are changing. It's going down $15 per week is what's happening to her savings account. She's actually spending money, right? The rate is going down, which probably means she's taking money out of her account or spending money every week. Next one I'm going to show you is another table, because this table is a little bit trickier. This table, if you notice, there is no y-intercept. There is no x being 0. So we're going to have to calculate that. So this one's a little bit different order. You're going to have to figure out when is x being 0. You could actually throw a 0 into your table and figure out what y is. The first thing we have to do then is figure out what is the rate of change or what is the pattern that our graph is following. So we still need to find our y-intercept and our slope. Doesn't matter the order. This one I notice as x's are increasing by 0.5. My y's are going up by 4, 5, 6. Okay, so what's happening? It's going up 6 for every 0.5. So for every half hour, they're increasing, the amount of money is increasing by $6. So we need to change that to per 1 hour. So some of you might be able to do the mental math there. If it's $6 increase in half an hour, that's a $12 increase in 1 hour. You also can just do the division 6 divided by zero point 0.5 in a calculator to get the rate per one, right? So that means the slope. The amount of money is increasing by 12 per one. Now, to go backwards to find the y-intercept, we can work backwards on our table, right? So if we know if it's going up half an hour, it's going up by $6. We know if we go backwards by zero point 0.5 an hour, we need to go backwards by $6, right? So we're following that pattern. If it's going up half an hour, then up $6 to go back to the y-intercept when x is 0, we have to go backwards, go back by zero point 0.5, and then we go back by 6. And 26 minus 6 is 20. So it means they begin at $20. Okay, so on the table, it takes a little bit of work to figure that out. And the last one for today is from a graph. And from a graph, these are the easy ones. I gave you actually two, and I said we could compare them if we wanted to. If we want to find some information, our y-intercept for the first one for saving money is right here at 30. So my B value is 30. She starts at $30. The rate that the savings is increasing, and I can tell it's increasing because my graph is going up. So I'm going to say, oh, I'm going to pick another point to count to. That's nice and easy. It's going up from 30 to 40 in a 1, 2, 3, 4 week window. So it's going up $10 in 4 weeks. So it's $10 in 4 weeks. I can simplify that, right? I can reduce that to $5 in 2 weeks, or that's $2.50 per 1 week. So you can look at it in all those different scenarios. They're all equivalent. So that rate that the value of the money is increasing is $10 every 4 weeks, or $5 every or $2.50 per week. My second one, she still is also beginning at $30. And if I look at this one, it's going from 30, and here's the 2 week window. Nice, easy one to count. It's going up $10, $15 in 2 weeks. So my slope is $15 every 2 weeks, or that's $7.50 per 1 week. Okay, so it says maybe we can ask some questions and compare them. If I ask some questions, you could tell me that they both start at the same amount of money. I could also then say that in the second graph, she's saving more money per week, right? Some questions on the right, it says Alyssa decides to save half as much money each week as she had originally planned. Alyssa increases her weekly savings by 50%. Okay, so we're trying to figure out which one of these is the true statement. And she's not saving half as much, right? She's saving a lot more than she was before. All right. So just a reminder again, we're looking at linear functions. We were trying to find the slope and the y-intercept. Y-intercept is where my graph begins, or that lone constant at the end of y equals mx plus b. The slope is the rate of change, or how is my table, graph, or equation increasing or decreasing per one. Take your time, do the quizzes as many times as you want until you're happy with your score. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.